Hey, we're going to go over the practice quiz today. So, number one, giving you two angles and one side. So, right out of the bat, we're going to find that third angle by subtracting the first two from 180 and get a 65-degree angle right here. From there, we're going to proceed and come up with a couple of ratios. We have the sine of A over the side A. So sine of A right here over side A. That'll help us right there, get that thing going. And then we can use either one. We're going to use both of them, in fact. So sine of 72 over B, and then sine of 65 over C. So we're just going to cross multiply here. And you'll see you should end up with 15 and 14 if we round. Now, make sure your calculator's in degree mode when you do your cross multiplying here. So pretty basic. Law of sines is awesome to use. And it is fractions equal to fractions and just cross multiply. Again, make sure your calculator's in degree mode there and get those correct answers there. So that is with two angles, giving you a couple angles there. Now, B. B is a little different. We have a side C right here. We have side C. We have side B, and we have angle A. So we have the old sandwich. When you have this, you're going to have to use the law of cosines, okay? Be real careful how you put stuff in. Watch your brackets. And make sure, again, you're in degree mode. You're solving for side A. Now, once you use the law of cosines, you only have to use it once. Use it once, and you're going to get this side. We're going to round this side up to 9. Once you get that, you can get your other values by using the law of sines. The law of sines is much easier, okay? So hence, go back. Only use the law of cosines once if you have a side angle side like we have here. Once you get that, you're able to use the law of sines to get your other angles. Now, you're finding the angles here. So remember, you're going to need to use your inverse. So once you get what the sine of that is, inverse sine right here, inverse sine of that will get you your angle. And we'll round that up too. So your angle C is going to be 40. Now, you could use the law of sines to get the other one, but you could also go ahead and know that the interior have to add up to be 180. Okay? So that leaves angle B. The only thing left for angle B would be 58. Okay, on the quiz, don't wig out about rounding too much. Get close, all right? I'm not going to count off if you're not exactly right on what I expect, but you got to be within reason. Don't be 5 degrees off, but you can do it. Okay? Again, only use the law of cosines once. And remember, if you have the sine like we have here, you're going to have to use the inverse to get your angle. Okay? So that's what that inverse does for us. All right. Number 3. Number 3, we have side, side, side. Now, when this is the option, we're always going to use law of cosines, and we always want to find the biggest angle first. So we're going to set this up to find C. And then your C is going to be out front here, which would be 8 squared, okay? So using that law of cosines, we'll roll right through that. And as you can see, we get angle C to be 93. And we're rounding there again. Once we get that angle C to be 93, we're going to head over here and use that again with the law of sines, because the law of sines is much easier than the law of cosines. How many times do you have to use law of cosines? Just once. Then go and use your law of sines to calculate either angle at this point, but we probably want to try to chase down the smallest there, which we did in this case, side B. Notice, the biggest angle always has to have the biggest side. So when we have side, 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 always look for the largest angle. Go big. Need that big angle first. Okay? Get that big angle first when we have side, side, side. Okay, moving on to number 4. This one should be straight up pretty easy for you. Again, we're going to start by 37 and 82. We're going to subtract that out from 180 and get our angle C at 62. Or excuse me, 61. Now, we're ready to use the law of sines. We have angle A, we have side A, so we'll set that ratio up. Sine of 37, again, degree, degree, degree mode. And you should be able to solve those, cross multiplying those guys, and you should end up with, again, we're rounding there a little bit. So 9 and 10, again, rounding, just be general there. So, all right. So far, so good, I hope. And we're ready for number 5. Number 5, a little bigger action going here. We have an angle, we have a side. Now, we have angle A, but we also have side A, so we're good to go, okay? We can use the law of sines, and the only thing we're going to be able to find is angle B. So that's our first shot, is angle B here. Okay, so angle B, we're going to roll down with that, and then we're going to turn around and find, of course, the other information here. So angle B is going to be found right here. Okay, cross multiplying. Here, remember, we're getting the sine of B is 0.3830. Got to use that inverse and get your angle B at 23. Now, of course, we can subtract that out right here and get what our angle C is at 27, and then finish up with your law of sines right down here to get your side C at 4. Now let's make a quick check, and this is what we want to do on almost every one of these, is check to make sure, where is our biggest angle? Our biggest angle is A. Does it have the biggest side? Well, yes, it does. Now, does our smallest angle, which is B here, 23, does it have the smallest side? Yes, it does. So that's a quick check. Make sure your biggest angle has the biggest side, your smallest angle has the smallest side, and you will be ready to roll there. Number 6 is another side, side, side. So as we talked about earlier, we always need to hunt down what? Hunt the biggest one. So the biggest angle, is going to be C, because the biggest side is 17. So we want to start that right there. 17 is squared is equal to 15 squared plus 16 squared. We're rolling through that. And as we get down there, you should get angle C at approximately 60 degrees. From there, remember, only use the law of cosines once. From there, we're going to set up the ratios right here with the law of sines. Solving there, again, you're finding the sine of A. You got to use your inverse, 53 degrees. So 53, we're going to round that up to 54. And then use your old subtraction. 180 minus 66 minus 54 gives us 60 here. Again, we're going to check our sizes, make sure things work out pretty good here. And our largest angle is C. It has the biggest side. Our smallest angle is A, and it does have the smallest side. So remember again, when we have side, 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 you have to get what you think will be the biggest angle. In this case, it was angle C. So we put 17 squared to start with. All right, we're getting down there now. Hopefully you're doing okay. Here we go. Number 7. Number 7 set up for us to use the law of cosines, of course. It is a side, angle side, where just angle is sandwiched in between those two. So we're going to roll with that guy right here. And I set up X over there on this one. You know, if you use A, B, and C, it doesn't really make much difference. Again, make sure your calculator's in degree mode. I like putting brackets around all that sometimes, so watch yourself. Okay, you got to practice this. If you don't practice this a little bit, you might not be able to get the right calculation. So remember, we're going to use that one. So once we get that angle, or that size of X to be 172, we got X to be 172. And now we're going to use the law of sines. Why? Because it's much easier. It's just simple ratios. We'll set up those ratios now and finish this guy out. Well, looks like I thought I had them, but apparently not. This one is B. So then we would just set up our ratios from there and solve for the other side. So you would say sine of 142 over 172 is equal to, we'll label this, let's label this A over here, because then we would go with sine of A. And what is the side A? What is side A? Well, I apologize. I'm sorry. We didn't really need to do that. We only had to find, this was the ship problem. And I got carried away there trying to find all the parts, which we really don't need to do. So my apology. That's why it's not up here. I figured that out now. So do not need to do that. We just needed the distance between those two. And we got it at 172, and that would be miles, of course. My bad there. All right, number 8. Again, a little bit of an application problem. We set this up. We got isosceles triangle, and then just set yourself up a little diagram there. 48 looks like a pretty simple straight up. We can use knowing that some of our interior have to add up to be 180. We're going to get this angle to be 84 up here. And then we'll set up this ratio with 84, cross multiply, and you're going to get your X down here at 13.7. Don't know if we had a measurement there. Oh, that's meters also. And you roll with that. Last problem. Woohoo! All right. Last problem is an area problem. So we have that area formula. Area is equal to 1/2 BC times sine of A. So again, real simple. 1/2. Make sure you use your brackets. Make sure your degrees. And you should get that area. Of course, this does not have a measurement, so we should have some unit squared here. I didn't put a unit on this one, so you know this could be 46 meters here, and this is 50 meters or inches or whatever we might want, but we'll just make that meters square at this point. So needs a measurement, but that's okay. All right. Hopefully this helps a little bit. Remember, when it's side, 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 use the law of cosines and always go for the biggest angle first. Get that biggest angle first. All right, good luck and hang in there, and I'll talk to you real soon.